I'm Stila Webb.
And I'm Shuvom and Stila.
I'm going to write my first fiction novel this year.
And I'm going to film it.
And we're going to release one video each week.
And if you keep up with Stila's word count, by the end of 2017, you'll have...
Curiositana vunna.
Welcome to week 2 of the writing. You should currently be at 3,500 words thereabouts. I'm currently at 3,858 words this week.
So today we're going to talk about one way to think about how you're actually writing from day to day, a basic building block of writing called scene, sequel scene.
So what is a scene? Well, a scene is made up of 3 main components: the goal, the conflict, and the disaster.
Wait!
As we mentioned before in our characters episode, your characters need goals, but not just a goal for the entire book, but also little goals as they go through the story.
But if a scene started off with a character having a goal and getting it right away, that's a pretty boring scene. That might as well happen off camera. What's interesting for scenes is if a character has a goal, but then something stops them. A big ogre, even not having enough money, a girlfriend who's mad at them, whatever their goal is, immediately puts something in the way to be a conflict.
But then you have to have a disaster. They still can't quite reach their goal. And even if they get what they wanted, there has to be something wrong with it.
If your main character had a goal, and then there's a conflict, and they won, that's the end of the book, right? So, make a disaster. They get what they want, but it's not exactly right. They get what they want, but it's broken. They get to the very edge, but the princess is in another castle. Disaster.
So you've got your scene with your goal, your conflict, and your disaster, but what happens after the disaster?
The sequel scene.
Your character needs to react.
Like a normal human would.
This is where the hero feels about what happened. They feel upset, they're sad, or frustrated, or angry, or disheartened, and they just don't feel like they want to go on. What's the point of continuing this journey?
Whenever you complain about movies or books having cardboard characters, is because they don't have this. The heroes just kind of move through the movie like a cardboard cutout, but have them have a reaction to what just happened, and then you have a real person you can feel for.
Then you have the dilemma. This is where your character stops and thinks about where they are and tries to decide what to do next or how to proceed. Also there to fix D's, because you always got to fix the D.
So this isn't like a huge debate scene like we talked about in the Save the Cat thing. This is just a character going, oh, we just had a disaster, should we try it again or should I give up? You know, just a little thing.
This is like a character's lost in a maze and have to decide, do I want to go right or do I want to go left?
Then what happens, Stila?
Then they make the decision. I'm going to go right. This is where the character formulates a new plan or has a new goal that they've decided on, which wraps back into the scene, because that decision leads to the goal that opens up a new scene and begins the cycle again.
So this was invented by a guy named Jim Butcher, who wrote this great book, Techniques of the Selling Writer.
No.
We first heard about this in a blog post by semi-famous author Jim Butcher. But apparently it's an older concept. We'll link to the blog post in the description, but it's an older concept made by What's-His-Nuts.
Yeah, so-and-so wrote this book about it, and it gets into more detail. It actually is a really good book. He's got a lot of really good information, and he gets into a bit more detail about the scene, sequel scene setup in here.
This is how you can plot out what's going to happen next. If you need the different scenes to interlink, goal, conflict, disaster. Reaction, dilemma, decision leads to goal, conflict, disaster. Reaction, dilemma, decision. So you can go through your whole book like this, and that's what Jim Butcher suggests. Here is an example we're going to show you from one of our favorite movies, Hot Fuzz. The setup here is really good London cop, Nicholas Angel, is being forced to retire from the London police force because he's too good a cop, and they're sending him way out into the countryside.
Hello?
Janine, it's me.
I know, I'm at work.
I know. I'm outside.
What's the situation?
You know the situation. We've been over this.
No, I meant here.
2 people involved.
Watch, she's literally going to ask him what his goal is, and he's going to tell her.
Talking about here.
Nicholas, what do you want?
Well, I have something important to tell you, and I didn't want to do it over the phone.
So his goal is established. He has something important to tell his girlfriend.
But I'm moving away for a while. Well, I'm not Janine. Janine, I've been transferred. I'm moving away for a while.
I know. Bob told me.
And here we're going to move into the conflict. He wants to talk to her about this, but they get into an argument instead.
It's not that long ago we were talking about getting married.
Yes, but you're already
She is
married.
not interested.
We're actually supposed to call it the service now. Official vocab guidelines state that force is too aggressive.
See? It's only ever about the job. It's all you care about.
That's not true.
No, you're right. You do have that rubber plant.
It's a Japanese piece, Lily.
You just can't switch off, Nicholas. And until you find a person you care about more than your job, you never will.
If you guys remember our Save the Cat breakdown, that was theme stated. The job is the only thing you ever care about.
Guilty people often make the first move.
Actually, there's something I need to tell you.
You're seeing someone else.
Yes, how did you...
Is it Bob?
No. Does Bob look like the kind of person I'd go out with?
Aww.
It's Dave.
Hello there.
Yeah, so the disaster, he went in with the goal of telling his girlfriend he's moving out to the country, come with me. And the disaster is she's already seeing someone else. She wants to break up. You know, they're broken up.
Yeah, there's no hope.
Hello there, Nicholas. Frank Bottom
So
here. Your new
you'll see the actor react, but also even the music is reacting to what just happened.
We've got you a lovely little cottage on Spencer Hill. We'll look forward to meeting you anon. Cheerio. Nicholas, Frank again.
I love his face here. He holds his facial expression throughout the rest of the scene.
This is all him reacting, and without even saying a word, he's reacting to the big blow he was just dealt.
These scenes are so dense. We're probably going to go over this a couple of times later on for more writing tips because there's just so much to get out of the scenes in this movie. Still reacting. Now watch this carefully. The transition between reacting, dilemma, and decision is very quick. Dilemma. Decision.
Look how beautifully that was done. You had a dilemma, you had him sitting there, and then pulling the jacket off the wall was his decision. And now his mannerisms, the music, is all says he has another goal. His goal is to see what's happening in this town.
So here he's got a goal of wanting to relax, trying to switch off, and just figure things out. But there's a conflict. He's a cop, and there are underage drinkers everywhere. Can he switch off? Can he relax? All internal conflict. Disaster. No, he can't. He has to get involved.
Your birthday? 22nd of February. What year? Every year. Get out.
What a good
movie.
scene.
Great movie.
What a good scene.
So why would you even want to do this? What's the benefit to structuring your story this way? The main benefit is it keeps your readers engaged. We talked about motivation and goal being one of the main points that pulls a reader through your story.
Think of this like those little gas stations on a long highway. They refill the plot momentum. When you're Mario Racing, those little booster packs that make you go faster all of a sudden. These are little booster packs. When your plot starts dragging, what should happen next? Just go through a cycle like this and you'll see the pieces start to interlock.
Yeah, it really helps when you're writing it. You never have that problem of, gee, what's going to happen next? Well, if your character has gone to here, they've made a decision, they've got a new goal.
They've made a decision, and so have you. One way, it's a good way to check your scenes. When you start a scene for the first time, is the goal for the characters clear? Do we know what they're trying to get?
This is a whole unit of emotional action that happens.
It's like a pendulum swinging back and forth. This will give momentum in your scenes and your story when you're trying to figure out, how do I write this?
And don't think that these need to happen as quickly or as snappily as it looked like it was happening in Hot Fuzz. You can take your time in different areas of this. The conflict in a lot of places lasts a long time. A whole scene unit can be 2 chapters long, or even 3 if it needs to be.
One thing that kind of frustrated us while we were trying to find examples for this, we started looking at Pixar shorts, because Pixar is great for getting the beats of a story down. The problem was the conflict takes up like 5 minutes, but that's the fun. A lot of times this conflict is the main reason for putting the scene in. So the conflict can take a long time, but just make sure it ends in not a win, but a disaster. That'll keep your plot moving.
And sometimes your reaction is what takes a long time. If you get to the end of a conflict and you have a disaster, say someone dies, then you're going to spend a lot of time in the reaction area. This is going to be a little wild.
One of the weakest spots of Star Wars A New Hope is when Obi-Wan Kenobi dies, and then Luke spends almost no time caring about it.
Oh, it was like 3.5 seconds long.
Yeah, because they're instantly being attacked by TIE fighters and stuff like that.
The more earth-shattering the disaster is, the longer time you're going to spend here.
That's our writing tip for this week. As you're kind of going through with your 500 words, think of your story beats and your chapters and your plot outlines in scene, sequel scene.
And my supplemental this week, I'll talk more about how that works in conjunction with Save the Cat.
So until then,
email us at hey@getwriting.wang. If you have any questions or any comments, you can comment down below.
So until then,
Get writing.
.wang.